Wait a little while. We're finally here. My e-gaming bank account, it does have its own vault, actually. If I was paid in esports dollars for everything I ever did for esports, I would have a lot of esports dollars. In the top left is the red Protoss. It is Liquid MaNa going for what he likes to do, which is a very early probe block. Bottom right as the blue Zerg, it is TLO. Residing in Canada, by the way, so I've been mentioning the server differences of other people. It is worth noting that TLO is also not in Europe. So, but East Coast Canada to Europe, not too bad at all. It is going to be the team kill of Liquid. It's got to happen, guys. And we also are going to see some mind gaming going on, probably. TLO, no doubt expecting MaNa to do what he did, which is go for the guaranteed probe block. Like, if you go for... You know, he immediately sent out a probe. You don't really usually have to do that. Immediately sent out the probe. It was technically a pylon scout, but not the one you would think of. It was 13 pylon, not 14. So, you can't really beat that. I don't think you want to anyways with the 14 hatch. So TLO just, like, was not even going to bother trying to take his natural. Takes his third immediately. Doesn't mess up his build. It's still annoying. You know, you lose time transferring your workers from eggs to natural, and you don't have the creep stretch protect you from some of the earlier attacks that can give you a little bit more forewarning, and Queen's a little more mobile type thing. For a little while anyways, and it is certainly annoying. I just always wondered if it's really as annoying as it is worth it, I guess. Like, MaNa always does the very early hold off on a probe. That's what you have to do it. But anyways. Not only are they friends, teammates, they also probably still play each other on ladder occasionally. I'm not sure how much TLO ladders on NA versus EU, but if his ping is actually okay, then I'm sure he's playing on Europe a lot. Who cares about the money? That's a bonus. If you do what you like and put your soul, that's what matters most. I'm so glad you put a kappa there. Actually, the well, TVZ is always fun to cast. The Soul Bly series, and then mention was going on, probably cast by the other English casters right now. I do believe Bly is a very fun player who can certainly do upsets. Soul has actually been doing really well. Soul is getting more consistent, or sometimes he didn't really ever like punch up, I guess, but he would definitely lose to people he wouldn't expect, even when he was supposed to be the next big Terran player. And I think he's really leveled out and just is really solid good now. He's been doing pretty well in the qualifiers too, so I do expect Soul to take that series and slap down any Bly shenanigans. But you guys can tell me if you're watching the other games. Double monitor, right? Oh, the Starcraft. So MaNa does this very commonly. Now, I'm a little fortunate that I'm able to cast a decent amount of MaNa, including just some replays from replay packs I've been hoarding, but I can almost guarantee that TLO knows that this is a very possible follow-up, let's say. The pylon block, or lack thereof, the probe block, and then the follow-up adept attack is something that MaNa's been doing a lot. Takes the guys off gas temporarily. It is going to be the immediate follow-up in the Dark Shrine. He also does that a lot. Yeah, this is all checking off the list that I recall from MaNa's play versus Zerg. It's not that he does it all the time, every time. It is pretty common from him. So, Adept harassment into Archon harassment or DT kill. Hey! Speaking of people that are sponsoring this tournament. Putting on this tournament. Thank you, TeamLiquid, for the 10 gifted subs. Woohoo! You know how many gifted subs I've had? And it's not even my birthday yet. So exciting. Thank you. Make sure to give some sub love. That's what we do around here. Cute cat. Lots of adepts coming through here. So I said harassment. I was just about to say sometimes it does actually kill a Zerg. They're really, really totally blindsided. But yeah, TLO should figure it out. TLO should know. He does. He's got a nice combination of units, but the Adepts are so tricky, right? They have them shades themselves, which they can cancel or actually go through with. And there's the Warp Prism, which can, you know, obviously go around to different bases. It can micro a little bit, but also is that just constant question mark. Are they continuing to make Adepts or aren't they? Because either one's possible when you have a Warp Prism. Anything's possible, including warping in DTs. So TLO is on top of this, but not with an Overseer because his lair isn't done. He does have Spore Crows because, again, I would be shocked if TLO has not faced this multiple times at this point from MaNa. But it's a tricky build. It's not a build that I would say most people ever just slap down entirely. Probably happens a couple of times, but I would say often, no, not really. The Warp Prism almost dying would have been a nice way to shut this down, but it didn't die. More DTs are warped in. He actually targeted the Spore Crawler for a second there, but not gonna be able to kill that one. He could kill this one though, and exactly what he does. And continuing to shade, consistent shading really key, and keeping these Adepts not just alive, but also keeping the pressure up so they don't just die and then you get counterattacked. And I really do like that recall. MaNa was playing with fire with that Warp Prism. It was awfully low, and TLO was doing a decent job of getting his queens guessing where it was going to go to. He's also spread the creep, which can be very important against the Warp Prism defense. So nicely done. You can see how that gets hairy quickly, how that doesn't really get cleaned up that quickly because of all the options that you have with the way you can maneuver and the units you can warp in. I would say that TLO, all things considered, did a very good defense of that attack. Now, let's talk about some of the things that MaNa gave up for that attack, because that might look like something that's like, wow, if it never, you know, immediately dies, isn't it the best build ever? No. Again, sometimes it does immediately die, and it looks really bad, but even if it can last a long time, it gives you all these, like, flexible points of attacking or defending or building Archons, DTs. Like, you don't have a Forge for a while. You don't have a Toilet Council for a while. You don't have Archons for a while, or, sorry, High Templar Archons for a while. And you don't have a third Nexus very quickly at all, which you see here is only 75% done. So you definitely sacrifice some things. And while you can build a solid Archon Immortal count, yikes dog, if you weren't actually pinning the Zerg back, dealing a little bit of damage, killing a couple roaches, checking to make sure they aren't just going to all-in you type thing, even with a couple of Immortals and a couple of Archons, they will still possibly just overrun you. It's not an easy build to always work with, but it is something that's malleable. You can actually make it work. And in this case, MaNa starts things off nicely by force fielding off a couple of roaches. He's got a decent number of force fields, and he still has that Warp Prism. If that Warp Prism had died, especially the second time it went in, just 10-15 seconds ago, and he has to be rebuilding one right now, oh, that's bad news. Very bad news. But this concave, the surround, also a bit of bad news. Let's see how MaNa handles this. Ravage is going to break the force field. Warp Prism still focusing primarily on microing. It really can't be used to warp in. It doesn't have to be used yet, as the pylon is still active. The shield battery all out of juice. The Archon about to die as well, but a third Immortal joins into the fray. A couple of Zealots still getting attacks. I couldn't tell which were Zealots and which were Changelings, but there were a couple of Zealots in there swinging away at the roaches, and most importantly, the 3 Immortals lived. And hey, look at that. Even the Archon lived. 5 health. That doesn't happen too often. TLO with a powerful surround, not actually getting on top of those really powerful units. You know, the fodder died, and it sucks to be the Sentry or, you know, Zealot or something like that in this army, but the Immortals and the Archon lived. Going after a couple of probes over to the third base and trying to sneak into the natural does not work out, and TLO just loses a handful of roaches. Well, I guess 6 probes is not bad, actually. This Immortal is killing the roaches slower than I thought. Hello. There you go. Almost got 8 probes there. What a shame. But TLO doing something pretty common as a follow-up to that large attack is, again, talking about what TLO gave up to do an attack like that, which could have taken advantage of what MaNa was doing. Is that TLO did not have much of an economy to do that. It can be a very powerful attack to someone who might have, you know, 1 less Immortal, or no Archons, or they lost the Warp Prism with the Archons inside it. Then, oh my god, absolutely do the attack. But in this case, it didn't actually work as well as he was hoping for. So that was a long time to get his third base saturated. He was around 50 drones, recently got up to 60. Fourth base is only just now done, so he did sacrifice quite a bit to do that. And MaNa holding is a pretty big deal, because he finished charge and +1 attack while that was being held. And TLO was, I think, hoping for a lot more there. Mutas, though, could definitely change things up. Now, MaNa's already on his way to Blink. He might be anticipating the Mew to follow up, or he might just actually be wanting to play with Blink. He has not seen the Spire, but it is a decent, common follow-up. And yeah, I was gonna say, I really think he should push. I expected him to push. That's exactly what he's doing. You can warp in Stalkers if the Mew just try and go after your main army. And with one Archon still alive, and very healthy now that it has shields again, you actually have a very good anti-Muta army. I'm more so worried about the Warp Prism getting sniped. Just because it is so low. But the Mutas aren't here. They went for an immediate attack to the third base, which has no cannons. MaNa did not know about the Mutas. Might have had a guess, but didn't know. And if you do the attack at this time, it usually catches the Mutas anyways. Either they're unprepared on the ground while the Mutas do what they do. You know, attack in here. Good warp ins, though. Or the Mutas are back home trying to help and not helping very much at all. So very powerful attack from MaNa. And TLO, pretty sure he can't hold on to this. The supply looks terrible for a Zerg player against a Protoss. Archon Zuka caught in the middle of the map, supporting a potential base trade, taking out one unit at a time, right? But base trades usually work out better with mass Muta than they do with the Roaches and some Mutas. It's the best bet TLO certainly has, though. 2 bases to 3, 2 bases to 2 very soon. Shield battery's out of juice, not that anything could be warped in at this point. More importantly, does he have any cannons elsewhere to try and hold on to? Again, a potential true base race, like who has last building. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. Probes have gone down, but that is not what's really important here. We're talking about the grand scheme of things. Does this actually let TLO win the game, or does he just kill 3rd Nexus and 17 probes? Because while it usually sounds like a lot, considering what he has also taken damage to, it's not that much. The army also still looking quite unbeatable for MaNa. Down 5 armor supply is equivalent to being up 20 or 30, I guess, against what TLO has. +1 flyer attack's the only upgrade that TLO has. He could go for the Warp Prism, maybe, at that point. Blink is available, though, so he would have lost most of his Mutas. Oh, okay, actually, Blink not used. Oh, a bit late on that, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. MaNa playing the better game there. GG. That was like a cool, like, almost textbook way of how you would see that attack and that defense, and then the attack because you defended and defended the attack. Like, kind of a textbook game that maybe I could have cast on the floor, not looking at it. Could TLO have had a better game if he didn't go for the Roach attack? Possibly. Do we blame him for going the Roach attack? I don't think so. It didn't feel like he defended terribly. And if you don't take like a lot of drone damage, you don't take really terrible trades with a bunch of lings, you actually hold a little bit, continue building up that Roach count. That Roach attack can be very deadly, but we're given the story there. It's a fact that did not work. The heck? What is that name? Right, in top right, down 1, it is the red Protoss MaNa. Sorry, up 1. I don't know why I said down 1. So Apollo's bothering me, that's my excuse. And the bottom left, down 1, it is TLO. Oh, he's a pretty kitten. All right. So okay, I might have missed something. Did MaNa not go for the typical pro block that he usually does? If I was, like, super smart, I could tell you all the, like, timings of a gateway finishing usually and a pylon finishing, but that I cannot do. Well, whatever happened, TLO actually gets his natural. Legit gets his natural. It's a feeling that you're happy and sad at the same time. Ambivalent? No. That's when you're nothing. I don't know. TeamLiquid showing favoritism to the TeamLiquid player. A couple extra Ravagers and fewer Railroads has been a bit of an attack there. For sure. You lose some time building the Ravagers, but Ravagers aren't hardcore countered by the Immortals and provide those corrosive biles. I was actually a little surprised that TLO did not go for Ravagers. Forgot to mention it though, so thank you for reminding me. But I guess he really did see an opportunity to blitz MaNa, so he took that over building Ravagers, but he was incorrect. Stargate here for MaNa, gonna change things up. I give a lot of praise to that build last game while trying to make sure that I didn't make it seem like the best build ever, because it's really not. I've seen decent enough MaNa games where he also just gets hardcore smacked down, but yeah, as good as it can be, swapping things up and going for a Stargate. Alright, TLO going for just an Evolution Chamber for now, third base, all the good stuff. Oop. Yep, quick third Nexus, just getting a second gateway and a third, so no Adept attack in mind. Second Oracle on the way. Stalker was built. Gonna come in here and take out the Overlord, but too late. No drone to the third to kill, no need to worry about it. +1 melee. I wondered if that was the Evolution Chamber. Its purpose. Yeah, okay. It was so quick and a little hidden as well instead of on the front lines where you would typically see it. And I was like, yeah, alright. And the Oracle taking a lot of damage to get some scouting done, wondering what in the world's going on. Not that there was anything super suspicious, I think, on the front lines that he was like, oh, must scout, but it is a good thing that he scouted. Seeing the Evolution Chamber in the back, already researching, might actually be giving him some clue. And then you have a Baliness on the way. With a +1 melee like that fast, I suppose you could do an attack on the third Nexus, but you know what? It wouldn't work. Yeah, no, don't do that. Shield batteries in place. MaNa taking the safety of his third base very seriously. And then the Adepts in proper positioning to take advantage of SimCity. Oracle's quote-unquote stuck back here, but it's really not. Recall could be used if he really thought he needed it, but he has a second Oracle, so... If he was missing a bunch of Lings running through the middle of the map, that's on that second Oracle. That's its fault. Good micro against that. I mean, there's not any reason not to do it as MaNa's Oracle, to go for Stasis Wards, and then there's, ideally for TLO, he is paying attention, because there's not much else happening on the map. He finishes up his +1, he's got his Baliness, there's some typical hooks. Also went for a Roach Warren, so Ling, Baneling, Ravager, but no units made an attempt to, like, cancel or kill a third Nexus. Not yet. Talk about, in the next 2 minutes, it'll be something different, but no early attack. +2 melee immediately started, so this will be some pretty powerful Banelings pretty quickly. One-shotting the probes. Very effective against it. I mean, Baneling's just effective, okay? Like, can we just, like, end sentence right there? At this point, Banelings, somewhat acknowledged to be maybe a little bit too powerful. You'd be like, well, if they crash into a Stalker, they're not that great. Well, have you seen them crash into Stalkers that are bulked up? It's actually not that bad. One stalker guarding against a 2-base all in. Yes, it will kill. It will, like, I think a stalker takes like 10 banelings or something. I once did the math on this, but Splash, man. Splash is pretty good. But if MaNa's going to be, you know, hold up in his third base and defending against a push, then he should be okay. It's any type of push he's going to do out in the middle of the map where things get mighty scary against TLO's composition. Plus, we could have some Overlord drops. Yes, indeed. Yes, we can. 3 Overlord drops, I would usually say, is actually for 3 Overlord Baneling drops. 1 per base, but we're all together. So it's just a regular old drop into the main base. Warp Prism I thought was going to go scout it. It does not. This will be a big surprise. Very annoying. He might just have Warpings, like, coincidentally timed out perfectly for this. I think he will, as he is timing out his +1 attack with Archons. I try and do this attack, and I hit it like 10 minutes, I swear to God. But TLO is going to get some probe damage. Not as much as I think he was hoping for. Maybe a couple pylons go down, too, but what about the main attack here? Queen goes down. It's a very swift attack. It doesn't actually look that scary maybe immediately. You know, it's not that many units. But with the combination of good force fields, the swiftness of the attack, again, catching the Zerg off guard, and that Warp Prism being available, of course, they can actually get much worse very quickly. Sentries go down, but awkward on the force fields there. Crucible is obviously can be used against force fields, but it'll buy you like 2 or 3 seconds. Not going to chase after the army to the right side, where they're just going to go ahead and go to the main/natural, or actually 4th base. Yeah, that 4th base. I think that's going to have to be canceled. Don't be a hero, 4th base. Don't be a hero, 4th base. Oh, it's going to be a hero. It's not going to live. There we go. Okay, MaNa hoping his army would get there in time to at least make it a very difficult decision for TLO. He just simply wasn't. Way too out of position. Oracles get a couple of free Ravagers, which is always the thing you want to target fire. Nicely done. TLO behind this had finished up +2 melee. Now working on +1 missile, Infestation Pit, and Aspire. And another Overlord drop as well. The Lings, as I said, I don't think were as effective as he was hoping for. But Banelings could be a different story, and MaNa should be mindful of that, but to be looking at every base at all times is difficult to do. He's taking his 4th base. I like this location so much better, but, you know, honestly, Everdream is still a bit of a question mark to me in terms of expansion processes. I look at this base and I say this one all the time, but, you know, clearly MaNa wanted this one, so. Okay, well, that's just not... That's called not paying attention at all right there. He is chasing down this Overlord, but it was a look over here while I attack over there. Attack, though, on the front lines. I thought it looked like it was going to go a little bit better, but a couple last-second Baneling hits. A lot of the chunky units left over, though. Immortals and Archons surviving, even though the Archons were very close to dying, and one Immortal did finally die, but that... Okay. That's more of what I expected, seeing as how there wasn't a whole lot of units there from TLO, and he... By nature, the Banelings are suicidal. Things are a little bit scary. MaNa just might be able to push through. He gets a 4th base. I think he canceled a would-be 5th. Corruptors on the way was a very... Oh, no, that's not good. It's good for the Warp Prism, but the Warp Prism has already warped in enough, including all the reinforcements coming in from the main and natural that were there to protect against the Overlord drops. And suddenly, MaNa has a very big army. Going from 3 Archons, or 3 Immortals and 3 Archons to that. Just all of that.